So what made you start this workout revolution of yours, Bands and Body?
Well, Bands and Body was originally started as a way to bring the community, the recovery community together. I used to teach the class to drug treatment centers, and then it kind of evolved into its own thing, and now I do it on a corporate level, and I'm beginning to do retreats, team building, exercise, and problem solving, and relay races, and things like that.
Most people go into these endeavors because of what happened to them in the past. Do you have a similar origin?
Yes. Well, exercise and fitness in general was it became a necessity to me because I was on the other side of the spectrum with my health and lifestyle, and I had a catastrophic event happen to me where I had open heart surgery that was a direct result of my own drug use, and that was really the reopening of my heart at that point, in my personal and emotional life. And then I began to get more involved in being an actual participant in my life and recreating it, and exercise and fitness and nutrition just went right along with that.
Can you go more in depth on that lifestyle you were talking about that led to your heart problem?
Sure. Well, let's see. Well, basically, I was a crystal meth user, and it led me to some really deep and dark places, and ultimately, towards the end, it led me into solitude, where I had sworn off all my family and friends, and I was basically just, I wouldn't even say maintaining or functioning, I was existing. And I was actually, it's a long story, but to shorten it, I was whoring myself out to these methamphetamine research studies, where they would pay you, and they would, give you board and room, and they would study you and administer meth to you. The amount that they were giving me wasn't sufficient, or wasn't, what I was used to, so I would have my drug dealer come and deliver more, and I already had this existing IV line in my arm, so I just, practiced my own thing. Unfortunately, it didn't work out very well, obviously. I went into convulsions the first time I did it. I don't know if I did too much, or the mixture of water was incorrect, but I went into severe convulsions, freezing, nurses were called, all that stuff. I just remembered at that point just hating myself so much, not having a meaningful life at all, that the next morning I woke up and I tried it again, and the same thing happened. And about a week after that, my health just completely declined. I lost control of my body, my immune system shut down. Somehow I was put in contact with my father, who he picked me up after being dropped off, or basically abandoned by my ex-girlfriend, and after a fight, and at that time, he was like, "What the hell is wrong with you? You look terrible, blah, blah, blah." So I stayed with them maybe 2 nights. They urged me to go to the hospital. Eventually, they just took me because I couldn't control my body anymore, and obviously, something had to be done. I went there. They tried to figure out what was wrong with me. They asked me specifically if I used drugs intravenously, and of course I said absolutely not. No, I would never do that. Do I look like that type of person? Blah, blah, blah. And, little did I know that could have saved me, or that could have killed me, really. And so they tried all these different tests, blah, 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 and ultimately they had to open me up and repair 2 heart valves that had ruptured. And there are 2 main ones, the mitral and the tricuspid. So at that time, it was pretty earth-shattering for me. But I even remember laying in the hospital the night before the surgery and just thinking, there was just a placidness. I just didn't care. It didn't faze me that this was going to happen the next day, and whether I was going to make it or not, there was this possibility. It was like, it was a real weird feeling, just non-caring, and no appreciation, no respect for life. But that has completely changed, and now I live my life to the fullest. I'm living my absolute dream. I love what I do. I give back. Everything that I could ever want in my life, I feel like I have, materially, emotionally, physically. So life is good.
What was the origin of the addiction? Was it from a party lifestyle?
As a kid, I was just a really curious and, I guess, discontented child. I remember from as far back as I can remember having these just really severe and destructive temper tantrums where I would become violent and loud, and my parents were trying to figure out what was wrong with me. They tried everything they could. They spent a lot of money on sending me places, seeing specialists. Nothing really seemed to work, but I managed to get through up until high school, at which point I got kicked out. Basically, the final straw was that I was driving a stolen vehicle with psilocybins that were packaged up, ready for resale, and no headlights on, 3 in the morning, and I got pulled over and arrested, and one of many of those times, and that was it. And then I had an ultimatum of whether I was going to go away to a program or away to a juvenile hall. So my parents fought for the program, and I went. Little did I know it was a wilderness program. They kind of surprised me. That was my little curveball, where I spent 3 months there. I also had brought drugs and paraphernalia into that program and got caught with it when I was almost finished and had to restart it. And then I had gotten in a fight with someone and got kicked out of there, and then into a reform school, and made it until I was 18, and then I left on my free will, after also graduating with a diploma, a high school diploma, which I don't know if that would have happened otherwise. Got home, met a girl who was a crystal meth user. We worked at Starbucks, and we worked at a coffee shop, and we were up at 5 in the morning, and she was chipper and happy, and I was like, what do you have? I want that. And, she showed it to me, and it was very elusive. It kind of like, at first, didn't materialize in the way that I could fathom, normal drug use, and then it just took me over completely. And, and it felt like, if you've seen the movie Limitless, it gave me this just extraordinary concentration and ability to, figure things out. I could take a radio apart and figure out the inner workings, repair electronics, and play guitar for hours and hours on end, draw for hours and hours on end, no water, no breaks, no nothing, until my fingers bled, and it was bizarre. But it was in a way I don't regret it. I feel like being open to that kind of existing potential within me, has led me onto this search for a bigger and better and cleaner version of that. So
go back to the emergency room. Your heart surgery is successful. How do you describe the recovery and the transition from that to where you are now?
Yeah, well, it was a long recovery process. It's a very invasive surgery, so it puts you down for quite a while. And then there's not much they can do in the way of rehabbing. You just kind of have to work it out. And, it was painful. It was emotional. I moved back in with my parents. They kind of walked me through it and cared for me in a really big way. And that was really the venture of my health and fitness, because I began to go on hikes. That was the only thing I could do. And then as I got better and progressed, I began to bring weights on the hikes. And then I would do, weighted arm movements like bicep curls and, shoulder raises and things like that while I was walking. And then I had this brilliant idea at the time of doing weight walking, hiking with weights. And I thought it was going to be like the next biggest thing. And of course, no one wanted to do it. People either want to hike and relax, or they want to lift weights and, feel intense about it. So it was kind of a clash. Didn't work out. But it woke me up to, this kind of like entrepreneurial aspect of myself, and desire to be creative and to build something that was original and fun and engaging. So, yeah, that's kind of how this whole thing had evolved, basically.
Why did you go on hikes? Were you a search for something inside, or just a recreational activity?
Yeah, hikes. I went on hikes because I wanted to clear my head. I wanted to get in touch with nature. I was brought up in a very spiritual way. My parents are almost anti-religious, but at the same time, I was kind of indoctrinated with some of the Christian and Jewish beliefs at the same time. We celebrated a lot of the Jewish, Hanukkah and Christmas, and so I was exposed to it, but in a very, non-authoritative way. And my dad especially was very into like Eastern, philosophy and religion, and he had a lot of heavy emphasis on meditation, and that kind of rubbed off on me. He sent me a lot of books when I was in my programming in Utah. I was in Utah. and I learned a lot, and yeah, it was good, and that kind of like got me on this search for finding myself, finding my potential, finding stillness, finding evolution as a person.
Can you talk about the zipper tattoo on your chest?
Yeah, this guy, well, I did it on myself, and it was kind of a symbolic of, sealing up my past. And so I left a little bit of the zipper, the actual scar at the top, open so you can see, and then I added a little heart in the zipper, so it kind of, captures the aspect of the open heart. Yeah.
How does that compare to the other tattoos you have in the body?
All the other tattoos are, kind of cosmetic, and some of them have meaning. I have some on the back of and most of them I've done on my legs. I've done all the ones on my legs except for one, and a lot of them are artwork that I had drawn, during that phase, because I don't really draw too much anymore. Although I have been, dabbling and revisiting it here and there, but not in the same level. But yeah, I have a symbol of transformation on the back of my leg. It's a water droplet that's the color of fire dripping into fire that's the color of water, with the Chinese symbol of transformation. And then I have the ambergram life death on the back of my other calf, and that one is symbolic of the fragility of life. You flip it one way and it's death, you flip it the other way, it's life. And yeah, all of them sort of have their own meanings. Eye on my back is my own watcher of my back.
Throughout your fitness career, how many people have you encountered or you've worked with also have a similar drug problem? How many have you saved from it?
Oh, I've worked with hundreds of people now over the years, and because I originally was doing this whole circuit of Malibu rehabs, doing classes there, I worked with many other recovering addicts. I've also, because I'm in that community, have networked and gotten referrals from there as well. And yeah, I love the private aspect of training, getting to know someone one-on-one, building a relationship with them, being an assistant, a catalyst into their healing process, their transformation. And yeah, it's cathartic for me as well.
All right, thanks, Dustin.
Thank you.